saying that never in a million years I thought I would ever be doing this what I'm doing right now. A little inside joke. My mom always used to invite me to church. I used to tell her maybe when I'm like 60, 70 years old and I don't have nothing else to do, I'll be going to church. But not right now. And here I am. I'm 34, by the way. Not 50 or 60. So I want to start by letting you know that I was raised Catholic, mom and dad. But unfortunately, my dad was an alcoholic, and so he abused my mother in many different ways, mentally, physically, emotionally, and sexually. So I grew up with that type of environment. And not only that, but my father was mentally, I call it mentally ill. He used to child molest me, my own biological father, not stepfather, but my dad. So I grew up with that throughout my whole childhood years. And he left home when I was like 14 years old. He left, and my mom never knew. She never knew what he was doing to me throughout those years. And after he left, I started acting out. In high school, 10th grade, it was like all hell broke loose. I was ditching. I was attending ditching parties. I was already drinking. I was introduced to weed and all that stuff. I was all doing it all. And my mother couldn't understand why. She couldn't understand why. So she hired a psychologist, and sure enough, psychologists, what do? They try to figure out what's going on, and she figured it out. I vented with her what inside of me, what was burning me inside. And so I moved on. She moved me high schools. Then I got into a relationship in high school. I finished high school. Shortly after I finished high school, I had my firstborn, Andrew. And then I moved on. I moved out. And then next thing you know, I was in an abusive relationship myself. I didn't realize it because that's what I was used to. That's what I saw. And I thought that was normal. And so life kept going. And my drinking started getting worse and worse each year. Then I had my second son. Same thing. Drinking, partying. I had gone back to school, finished school, then working, and then my partying just started changing in different ways because I was able to afford different things, and I was older, so I was able to go to clubs. So that's exactly what I was just doing. My focus was just about partying and drinking. I had my kids, and yes, I was doing my normal life routines. But little did I know that inside of me was a lost soul. I was a really lost soul. And I had my daughter, third child, and same thing, drinking, partying. And when I say drinking, partying, it wasn't the time that, let's go out for a little bit, come back home 1 o'clock in the morning. No, I wanted to party 5, 6, 7 o'clock in the morning. That was me. If I wanted to have a drink, that was me. And mind you, my mom, after my dad left, my mom surrendered her life to God. Instead of trying to find and escape different ways, she found herself in God. And so throughout this time, all this time, she's always used to invite me to church, all the time. And I used to go, and we used to go to retreats. And I would do altar calls too. I would go to the front, and I would kneel, I would pray. But the moment I stepped out of the door, I was the same person. So obviously, when I was praying, I guess I couldn't mean it by heart. I wasn't ready to let go. And then started realizing that my alcohol problems were just escalating, getting worse. It's getting to the point that my son, used to, as he got older, he used to not like to see, See, the thing is, I wasn't just drinking, I would get drunk. And he would tell me, no, and I'm like, and my husband would too, my mom, everybody would tell me. But I used to tell him my response to him was like, you know what, I'm an alcoholic, and alcohol runs through my blood. So basically, what I was trying to tell him that is, I'm not going to stop. I'm not going to stop, so don't tell me to stop, because I'm not. I was kind of very, again, rebellious. So, that happened, and then one day my mom, last year, in September, she came to me and she gave me a Sower flyer for the Sower Retreat. Called it is the Power of Love. She's like, here, do it for your son, my oldest son. And I'm like, okay, I'm like, fine. So I told Andrew, I'm like, hey, let's go to the retreat. And he's like, no, you and Dad go, you guys need it. I'm like, no, you need it. So that's, I'm like, all right, let's compromise. Let's go. The retreat was for 2 days, and I said, all right, let's just go Saturday. My mom's not going to know. That we'll leave early on Saturday, and we'll just go half a day. She's not even going to be there because it's going to be in English. So I'm like, she's not even going to be there, so we'll just go half a day. So, of course, as always, God has different plans for you. We were there the whole weekend. Next thing you know, the next day he's inviting his friends, and I'm inviting families. And that day, on Sunday, they did an altar call again. And I went up to the front, and I had asked for things that I had asked for before, but this time it was different. When I asked for it, when I asked them to heal me from my alcohol addiction, to take away that thirst, to take away all the pain that I had endured since a child, and all the pain that I had endured in my relationship, I asked him to take it all away, and I just started feeling something, my heart beating a million hours, a million seconds per, you guys get me. My hands were shaking, my mouth was getting numb. I was like, whoa, what is this? But I didn't want it to stop, I just wanted to keep going. So, the altar call finished, I went back, but I wasn't going to know if what I felt was real until I stepped out of the door, because like I said, I had been to many retreats before, but I would just be the same person back again. So retreat was over, we go back, and I couldn't wait for Friday to come over here. I wanted to see what the Sowers were all about. They had made me feel something that I never felt before. So when I came here, I felt so good. I felt so in peace. I felt so happy, and I kept feeling the same feeling every week. And next thing you know, life goes on out there, right? I go back out. I start getting invited to parties and stuff, and I'm like, okay, this is a real test. And next thing you know, I start visualizing this whole alcohol and people drunk in a different way. I was like, wait a minute, is that how I looked? Is that what it's all about? I'm like, what was I thinking? And that my friends came, I remember one of the first parties I had, and my friends came, were like, take a shot, come on, take a shot. And I'm like, no. They were like, what? What's wrong with you? And I'm like, so the fact that I had rejected alcohol, I was really surprised. But it wasn't me, it was the Lord that has been working through me. And I had not realized. So going back to the retreat, that means that what I asked for, I really did mean it. Because God gives us a choice. He gives us will, but it's ultimately is our choice if we want to surrender or not. And obviously, I was not ready before when I used to go to retreats with my mother. But this time I was ready to let go. And I've come to realize now that He's healed me from all the pain I endured. I feel this peace and joy and happiness now that I never felt before. So all this alcohol and partying that I was doing, it was just a way for me to escape from all the pain that I used to feel. And I come to realize that now. But now that I have found His love, I don't need all that anymore. I don't. All I need is Him. But He continues still working in me. For Lent, I lived Lent like I've never had before. Before Lent, I didn't even know what Lent was back then. But this time I lived it, and it was amazing. 2 days before Holy Friday, my sister invited me to go confess. I was like, oh, I haven't confessed in years. So I went, and as we're waiting in line, I'm asking God, oh my God, what should I say? What should I confess? I have so many things. And I'm like, tell me, God, what do I say? And sure enough, He answered. He answered with something that I had left behind. And I guess I didn't want to think about it because it's very, very, very horrible. But I had to confess it. I had to say it. And what He wanted me to confess was that during this time of partying and drinking, I was also having irresponsible intimacy. And throughout those times, I've gone pregnant, aside from my pregnancies, and I had several abortions. Not happy to say it, but God told me to say this. When I confessed it to the Father, and He told me that if I knew that His babies were in heaven, I said no. In these clinics, when you go to these clinics, they just tell you, oh no, baby has no life. Baby's fetus is smaller than a grain of rice. That's what I wanted to believe. And that's what they led me to believe. So I stepped out of the room, and I couldn't comprehend what He had told me. I just felt something so heavy in my heart. And good thing was that that church offered healing programs. So, although I know I did that act, I know God has forgiven me, and because I let it go, I'm also in a better place. And the only reason I'm crying is because His love, His mercy is greater than anything that this world could offer you. And I've never. The enemy was trying to attack me, and he was trying to take my soul away. But God had better and bigger plans for me. You know, Jesus is just barely getting ready for me now. So, you know, when God is with you, nothing can against you. And I also wanted to take this opportunity today. Something I never did before. I wanted to say, Mom, I want to apologize for everything I put you through. And I want to thank you for never giving up on me. Years and years of praying, she never gave up on me. So I want to thank you with all my heart for never giving up on me. You could have easily given up on me, but you didn't. And I want to thank you for that. And sister, you too. Even though we didn't have the best father, and that wasn't the best example for you, you received, and you've become such a beautiful woman now, and I'm so proud of you, more proud than anybody can ever be. And I love you. Andrew, I'm sorry for everything I exposed you to. Just know that you and my kids and all the kids mean the world to me. And to my husband, sorry for everything I put you through too. I know we've been up and downs, but there's not going to be any more downs anymore with God in our lives. Okay? And I love you dearly too. Testimony, and thank you to all for listening to me, and just know that God is good all the time, okay?